there's Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow. Whoa, who's that new guy? That's me. I gotta go. Hey, everyone. Okay, so the craziest thing just happened, right? I was in a fight with Captain America, and I stole his shield, and I threw it at him, and what the hell? He's big now. I gotta go. Hang on.
Lately, a lot of people like to bash this Spider-Man. The movie rested on some people's mind, and they got a big picture of it, and they hate it. But not me. No. This Spider-Man for me is the best Spider-Man. Really. Hear me out. Spider-Man is the Brooklyn's hero. He's the guy that stops criminals while joking around. He has a goofy personality of his own and sometimes even go a little jerk.
Oh, my spider sense.
Oh, fuck!
Because he's, behind the mask, Peter Parker. A kid that can't show much of his personality as himself because of his insecurities, and behind the mask, he shows all of his personality. His humor is great and he talks really great when he's in the streets, helping people around, joking around, and being the coolest guy in the neighborhood. He's this guy. Peter is different. Peter is the nerd guy of the school. Really smart and with extremely high IQ, with difficulty to talk to people, and the guy that gets clued from the rest. In the old stories, he was the stereotypical nerd guy with zero social skills. In newer versions, he's just a kid with little, but no zero social skills. More realistic kid from school. But still, this guy with little to no friends and a really smart mind, if people give him a go, they will probably know this amazing guy he is. Like they like Spider-Man, but the trait that shows up in both of them is the sense of responsibility. And that's exactly what this version of Peter Parker and Spider-Man does that the others didn't. Tom's Spider-Man is just Peter with more courage to show himself. His Spider has an identity. He jokes while fighting, he's having fun. He's just this kid who, even if he's incredibly strong, he surely does not feel that cool. He can barely talk with the girl he likes.
Yeah, I'm having people over tonight. You're more than welcome to come.
Having a party?
He can't interact with other kids, besides that. But when he has his mask on, he can let this side of him that is just pushed beneath shows up. He can show how fun and lovely he can be, and how awesome as well. And this shows a lot in the beginning of this picture. This first arc, right until the first appearance of the Vulture, is where you can see all that. He just wanna be a cool kid, but he can't. But like Nat says, he's the coolest guy in the school. He's freaking Spider-Man, but he does not seem himself this way. You have this great scene of him planning to go to the party as Spider-Man to bust his and Nat's reputation with the kids, but he sees a bomb exploding, or something like it, and he had this sense of responsibility that kept him from showing up and went directly to the explosion, and didn't let go of these guys. He chased them barefoot, being dragged on the streets, wet. He didn't let go. The villain of this kid is, as he should, an adult. In this case, not because he's reckless, like Ferris Bueller. The villain is an old guy trying to make a life for his family, and the kid is playing hero. Chris McKenna and Eric Summers wrote this scene that for me is the best scene of the movie, where Peter discovers that Lee's dad is the Vulture. The Vulture by this point don't know Peter is Spider-Man, but his presence makes Peter flip. You have the music going off, he has his knife pointing towards Peter, you have this jump scare, you have this whole scene developing to Vultures knowing who Peter really is, and even threatening him with a freaking gun. And the song just comes back after all this tension. But again, the Peter sense of responsibility makes him run towards the danger, letting once more his life as Peter behind because of his duty as a Spider-Man. This is comics by its core, and to reward this comic moment, you even have this direct reference to Ditko Amazing Spider-Man 33. Okay, this is where everybody flips. Peter is too technological. Some would say even that he's Iron Parker. But no, that's not what the movie shows you. I don't get when people say this. This version of Peter Parker is the new generation Peter Parker. Name one young kid that are not dipping into tech. Technology is just part of everybody's lives today. And nothing more fair than a tech Spider-Man. And where could this technology come from than the tech genius that adopted the kid in the movie before, Tony Stark? Tony gives him his tech suit, but even with all the modes unlocked, Peter only wants to use the basic things of it.
Shoot lady, what's wrong with my web shooters?
Rapid fire is the default for enhanced combat mode.
Why would I need rapid fire?
Would you like to see more options? You have 576 possible web shooter combinations.
Mr. Stark really overdid it.
You guys have to remember that this kid built a whole suit with an old jacket, red socks, water shoes, and I don't know what these glasses are, but he built a freaking web shooter. More than that, he created a web fluid all by himself in the school. The tech suit given to him by Tony don't make him. him. He made himself by being freaking smart since the beginning. And that's what this movie is about. He may be great with the tech suit, but he does not need it. He ends this movie with the same homemade suit of the beginning and learned his lesson. He's more capable than he thought. And he had on Tony the father figure he needed that believed in him and gave him this life lesson. Aunt May is a really big topic for some. She's not a freaking old lady. So what? She's realistic. She's a middle-aged woman that adopted her orphan nephew and recently lost her husband and is trying to deal with it. She lives in a cheap apartment with the kid, trying to do community service, but she worries the hell out that she will lose Peter as well. She can show this to Peter, and that's great. And when Peter needs her to impress Liz, she's there. Like the cool aunt, doing what probably Ben would do, teaching him how to tie a tie. I even watched the same video as Peter when I was younger. She drives him, trying to talk about sexuality with him, trying to fulfill Ben's spot. She knows he needs this father figure in his life. She even got a little jealous when Stark becomes closer to Peter and tries to take this spot from himself.
I'm just stressed the internship and I'm tired. A lot of work.
The Stark internship. I have to tell you, not a fan of that Tony Stark.
That's a solid Aunt May for me. This is a great Spider-Man movie and a great Peter Parker movie. The old movie have a great Peter Parker, the old Peter from 60s, but a really meh Spider-Man. Tobey's Spider has no personality for his own. He's just a guy with a costume. He brights when he's without a mask. That's when it sells the movie as great. But this new version of Peter, a more modern one, it's perfect with Spider-Man and with Peter Parker. As I said before, this movie lets what Peter wants to show to the world shows up when he's with the suit. He has his own personality. Not totally different from Peter, but a better version of the man behind the mask. This movie have this cool rival be a nerd jerk. Not all nerds are cool kids. A nerd with money can become Flash, and this is realistic. This is a cool school rival for this poor kid with little social skills that is Peter. He's invisible to the players of the school, so his nemesis is just a kid from the decathlon team that envies him because he himself is on reserve on the freaking decathlon, and that's amazing. When you see this version of Peter, stop trying to insert an old model of Peter Parker on it. Try to see him as the modernized version of what the story would be like if wrote in nowadays, with nowadays problem, with nowadays reality. And when you see this and combine with all the subtleties of the movie, like showing how strong he is without telling you explicitly, or how smart he is, they don't even have to tell you that he's in a freaking science and technology school. You get a really great Spider-Man version, with a great enjoyable Peter Parker. Forget about Far From Home. That movie sucked.